In today's economy, making ends meet is not necessarily a means to an end. The United States economy is in the midst of the worst economic recovery since the Depression. With the ongoing destruction, conventional lending is non-existent to individuals, small business and developers. There is $6.84 trillion on deposit in U.S. banks, but the U.S. banks have only $273.7 billion cash on hand. The banks cannot possibly pay back the depositors. Attempting to apply for a conventional loan is financial suicide, and continuing to put your hard-earned money into U.S. banks is like investing in chaos. The storm is here, though the economy is at its worst. There are many individuals who are not suffering financial hardships. As a matter of fact, these individuals are accumulating large sums of wealth in less than 2 years. They are not necessarily smarter than the average person, they have simply learned the secret of accumulating large sums of money by using private grants. Many are pressed with economic problems, and MCS Consultants understands the difficulties faced. As a Christian consultancy company, it is our duty to tithe and help Christians who are suffering from financial hardship. Let me start by saying that Christians should not only tithe with their money, but also their time and talents. If you have the wisdom to apply the financial strategy in this presentation, you will accumulate all the money you will ever need to retire comfortably. Let's begin. You are about to receive some very valuable information that will literally change the state of your life. That is, however, if you take advantage of this opportunity. Over the next several minutes, you will learn how you can retire debt-free in 2 years or less and receive all of the money you need in the form of a grant to eliminate any debt that you currently have or satisfy any financial need, because celebrating retirement never felt so young. Please listen carefully. I bet you had no clue that there are over $1.5 trillion given away each and every year to qualified grant applicants by private foundations. Yes, I said trillions, and I will touch on what I mean by qualified grant applicants in a moment. Oddly enough, only a fraction of American citizens ever apply for these grants. In fact, most people don't even know what a grant really is, or how they work. The reason most American citizens don't apply for these grants is because they are unaware of their existence. Why? Private foundations don't advertise to the general public. Access to the private foundation is by invitation only. But listening to the information I am about to share with you, and only if you act on the knowledge you are about to receive, your financial problems will soon be eliminated. Let me give you some insight on how private foundations operate. Private foundations are united by wealthy corporations, companies, individuals, and privatized business to benefit individuals and small business needing grant money. Some prefer to provide grant money for business, while many others would rather grant their money to individuals like you, to help support their cost of everyday family and/or living expenses. The grant can be used for financial needs such as eliminating credit card debt, paying off student loans, funding a college education, paying off medical bills, paying off a mortgage, purchasing a home, starting or expanding a business, supplementing one's retirement, or any legal financial purpose. Are you interested in hearing more? Okay then, let's discuss how you can benefit from this extraordinary grant program. If you're fortunate enough to be accepted into the private foundation's grant program, you will receive the money you need that will provide you financial peace of mind and start you off on the road towards financial security in less than 1 year. Notice I said if you're fortunate to be accepted. That is the key. Billions of dollars are awarded each year through foundations and charities by way of corporations, organizations, and individuals who are known for their philanthropic gestures. In fact, surveys suggest that 75% of small firms donate to charities each year, averaging a contribution of 6% of their profits. Women-owned businesses tend to donate an average of 10% of profits, and those with the highest revenues are, not surprisingly, the most generous. Contributing to a worthwhile cause has many benefits beyond the act of goodwill itself. It gives local business owners an opportunity to embed themselves in the community and network with other donors. And, of course, there are great tax deduction benefits. As shown on the flowchart, the process goes as follows. Corporations and small businesses donate a percentage of their profits to the foundation. For their contribution, these businesses receives a tax reduction from the IRS. Charitable contributions can qualify as tax deductions against business annual tax liability. Because of this, MCS Consultants through its private foundation provides grants to individuals and small business owners for things such as college funding, paying off existing student loan debt, paying off credit card debt, paying off a mortgage, purchasing a home, supplementing retirement, starting a business, church funding and building expansion, paying off judgments, eliminate bankruptcies, chapters 7, 8, 11 and 13, any legal financial need. The key advantage of having access to private grants rather than government grants are there are no restrictions as to how the money is used, and once an individual receives their grant, they can reapply for additional grant funding for creating additional wealth. If you are fortunate enough to receive a government grant, which is difficult to obtain, you must account for every penny spent. However, this is not the case with private grants. There are no cumbersome restrictions as to how the funds are used. By law, these corporations and companies must contribute 5% of their total assets every year so that they can maintain their attractive tax-exempt status. Each contributor targets niche segments of the population with specific needs. In the eyes of the IRS, charitable donations are gifts made to qualified charitable organizations. These include, but are not limited to, churches, non-profit organizations such as a volunteer fire company, a foundation or trust fund, or any other organization operated exclusively for charitable, religious, educational, scientific, or literary purposes, or for the prevention of cruelty to children or animals. It's important to understand this is not a government grant program. There are 5 requirements for being accepted by the private foundation. The first requirement is being invited to enter the grant program. The invitation is provided through the private foundation's affiliate grant writing company MCS Consultants. MCS stands for Making Christians Self-Sufficient. The second requirement is submitting a grant request through MCS Consultants. As I stated earlier, the grant request could be for eliminating one's debt, or even paying off student loans, paying off one's mortgage, or even starting a business. As long as the grant proceeds will be used for a legitimate financial purpose. The third requirement will be reviewing the grant request by the private foundation's grant committee. If the grant request is accepted, the grant requester will be notified by their MCS consultant. The fourth requirement is the grant requester must contribute 10% towards their grant. This is the most important requirement of the 5. What do I mean by contribute towards their grant? Simply this. It is important to understand that the private foundation is a Christian-based organization whose mission is helping responsible individuals, families and small business owners by eliminating 90% of their debt. You notice I used the word responsible. The private foundation knows there are thousands, maybe even millions of individuals who are the victims of unfortunate circumstances that have placed them in dire financial straits. Millions of people are currently unemployed and have stopped looking for work due to a lack of jobs. Millions have maxed out on their credit cards and denied additional credit. Thousands of individuals are filing bankruptcy every day. And millions of homeowners are facing foreclosure. The private foundation understands this dilemma and believes that everyone deserves the opportunity to achieve financial security and be able to live their lives with dignity. If only they had some help. This is where the private foundation comes in. However, the private foundation takes the position that although these individuals may have been the victims of unfortunate circumstances, they still must take responsibility for their debt or whatever the financial need may be. This is why the grant requester is required to contribute 10% towards their grant. By doing this, they are taking responsibility for their financial state. By taking responsibility, The private foundation will contribute the remaining 90% towards their grant. This is what makes the program effective. By taking responsibly for their finances, the grant requester is getting a second chance for financial stability. As stated in the Bible, we are required to pay back what we borrowed. It is easy to take this lightly, but if we borrowed it, we should pay it back. The fifth and final requirement is the grant requester will be required to cover the cost of having their grant written by the private foundation's affiliate grant writing company, MCS Consultants. Once the grant is written, MCS Consultants will submit the grant to the foundation for funding. These are the requirements for being accepted into the private foundation's grant program. And this is important. The private foundation has been providing grants to qualified grant requester for 18 years. In addition, they offer a 110% non-performance guarantee. Meaning, if they fail to provide the grant within the contractual time frame, the grant requester 10% contribution and the grant writer's fee is 100% refunded, in addition to 10% added for non-performance. The private foundation doesn't need the grant requester contribution. Again, this is required to show responsibility towards the financial needs. Please understand, this program is not for everyone. It was not designed for everyone. It was designed for individuals who have tried on numerous occasions to get a government grant, only to have been rejected. 99% of individuals who apply for government grants are denied. There is not enough government money available to satisfy the needs of the public. And due to the state of the U.S. economy over the past several years, the government has significantly cut back on the money awarded through grants. This program was also designed for those who have been denied a loan from their banks due to bad or no credit. The grant requester credit or lack of credit has no bearing on being accepted into the grant program. There is no credit check. The private foundation frowns on debt and offers an individual an opportunity to become debt-free by eliminating the debt totally. There are many debt consolidation companies offering programs that simply consolidate people's debt. However, the debt payments are simply being restructured and extended over several years. Wouldn't you rather eliminate your debt totally within 1 year instead of making debt payments for many years to come? Have you heard the expression, when you are already in a hole, then stop digging? The advantage of receiving a private foundation's grant is there is nothing to repay. Once again, the secret is knowing how to eliminate your debt totally while building wealth for the future. If you are able to meet the requirements of being accepted into the private foundation's grant program, it will be a tremendous opportunity to receive a portion of the trillions of dollars given away each and every year. And another huge benefit of being accepted into the private foundation's grant program is the opportunity to receive additional grants in the future towards creating wealth through starting a business. This is important because if you decide to donate 5% of your business's profit to the foundation, your business will receive the same tax reduction savings the foundation's other contributing businesses receive. Let me ask you a series of questions. How would you like to eliminate all of your debt in less than a year? Do you have a child or children wanting to attend college but you don't have the financial resources? How about starting your own business or expanding an existing business? How would you like to purchase a home, or pay off an existing mortgage? How would you like to retire in less than 2 years? All of these things and much more can be achieved by having access to the private foundation's grant program. If you are serious about receiving a grant and would like to submit a grant request, then get back to the MCS consultant that directed you to this website. If you don't have a consultant, leave your contact information and a MCS consultant will be assigned to assist you. However, please submit a request only if you can meet the requirements for acceptance. MCS Consultants receives many requests and will only assist qualified grant requestees. We look forward to helping you get the financial assistance you need by getting you accepted into the private foundation's grant program. Thank you for listening to the presentation and we look forward to your success.